Dubbed by the publications in the 60s as the Prince of the African Fashion and the first African designer in South Africa, this is Martin Molefe's untold story.
We found Martin Molefe while we were paging through drum magazine archives from the 1960s. And at the time, when we discovered those archives, he was named as the Prince of African Fashion. And I think we were bothered by the fact that we had never heard about this man. And we were motivated enough to actually tell his story as a fashion designer. And it's been years and years of just researching him, looking at archives both in South Africa and in Lesotho. And then why we came to Lesotho is because we found out that he made the 18 bridesmaids dresses and 2 maid of honor dresses for Lesotho's 1962 Royal Wedding. And we were interested in his work and just documenting his life.
Molefe seems to have developed a specialty in women's wear. He had also dressed the 13 contestants of the Miss South Africa in the late 50s, just before the Lesotho Royal Wedding.
And this was in 1956. Miss South Africa was divided along color lines. There was the white Miss South Africa, but there was the black Miss South Africa as well. And then Martin Molefe designed for those 13 contestants, which is unfortunate, I think, when we record history, because we don't have any visual evidence of that apart from the interview that was featured in Drum magazine.
Molefe had captured the fashion industry working with some beautiful classic silhouettes in the late 50s and 60s.
I think for me, what really sparked my interest was the fact that they called him the Prince of African Fashion in the 1950s and 1960s, and we had never heard of him. So we were really curious about who's this Prince of African Fashion and why don't we know about him and what work was he producing. And if we looked at his actual designs, just really beautiful cuts and use of print, really interesting motifs. What we tried to do is we tried to speculate what would Martin Molefe create in 2024, using his archives as a source of inspiration. So we looked at images from the 1962 Lesotho Royal Wedding. We analyzed those images and we looked at how he cut those dresses, the fabrication. We found that there was a really prominent use of lace that I think that Kaya mentioned, and we really wanted to create a contemporary reinterpretation of his historical work. What would that look like if it existed today?
And as Lesotho celebrates the October as the tourism month, embracing heritage and culture is a combination much needed to boost international tourism for the kingdom.
It was a historic event. You know, it was a big wedding that took 3 days. It started on the 23rd, 24th, and the 25th of August, 1962. So it has that touch of history. It has a touch of heritage where we want to decolonize the field of heritage, where we are saying there's a lot that hasn't been taught. We also wanted people to relate to it, not just the man, but his work. So this is where you will see newspaper reports forming part of the display. This are from both in South Africa, from South African old newspapers, 1962 issues, if you like, and as well as Lesotho. You will see Bomoeletsi Basotho and Lesedinyane as well, because they had a whole spread of an issue on the Royal Wedding, reporting on it. So we wanted people to relate to it, you know, at a personal level, if you like.
The Martin Isaac Molefe Memory Project is calling out to others who may have records of his other works to help them expand, telling this unique story of the Prince of the African Fashion. I'm Rapelang Khatebe for SABC News, Masego, Lesotho.